Welcome to the Selling Trust Podcast with Nathan Mark. Did you know you're 10 times more likely to close a deal with an existing client than a new prospect? Today, we're diving into the Mark Method to help you transform transactions into lifelong partnerships and build a referral flywheel that works for you 24/7.
Your sales team is acting like feral cats instead of highly trained professionals, and it's because you're accidentally making power plays that destroy teamwork. You think you're motivating people with leaderboards. You're actually creating a caste system. You think you're being a strong leader. You're actually being a toxic one. While you're planning next quarter's meetings, your team is already mentally checked out because you've created a culture where people fight each other instead of working together. Yeah, I know this because I've seen every single one of these mistakes play out. And if you're tired of herding cats and you want to lead a real team, then what I'm about to share with you is going to completely change how you think about leadership. Today, I'm going to break down how you're accidentally killing your team's performance and exactly how you're going to fix it. The solution isn't what most leadership books tell you. It's about admitting that power exists and then learning to use it the right way instead of pretending that it's not there or that it doesn't matter. I've worked with a ton of sales teams, and the best ones aren't led by the most powerful managers. They're led by the managers who understand how power works and use it to help people work together instead of against each other. Teams that get this right typically see a 73% increase in the happiness of their people. There's 56% less fighting amongst coworkers and 89% more sharing and collaboration on good ideas. One sales director told me, "Hey Nathan, I stopped trying to be the smartest person in the room and started making everyone else smarter." And guess what? Our results doubled. So with that in mind, here's what we're going to cover. First, I'm going to show you the power mistakes that are destroying your team culture. Next, I'm going to explain when and why these power games change how people talk to you. And finally, I'll give you the exact steps to use your power the right way. By the end of this, you'll know how to lead through influence instead of fear. Let me paint you a picture of what's happening in your sales meetings right now. You walk into the room with your reports, your charts, your carefully prepared agenda and PowerPoint presentation. You start talking about numbers, targets, performance metrics, KPI. Your team sits there nodding politely, but you feel the energy in the room, or should I say the lack of energy in the room. They're not engaged. They're enduring. They're not collaborating, they're competing. They're not sharing knowledge, they're hoarding it. Your top performer sits there with a smug look on his face because they know that they're safe from criticism. And your middle performers, they're sitting there playing on their phones because they know that they really can't be touched. And your bottom performers, well, your bottom performers are mentally updating their resumes because they know what's about to happen. This is what I call the feral cat dynamic. Everyone is looking out for themselves in one way or another. They're guarding their territory and seeing everyone else as either a threat or as irrelevant. The exact opposite of what you need to build a high-performing sales team. Here's the thing that most sales leaders don't understand. This isn't happening because your people are inherently selfish or unmotivated. It's happening because you've unknowingly created a power structure that rewards individual survival over collective success. It doesn't celebrate relationship building. It celebrates lone wolf mentality. Most sales leaders make power plays without even realizing. Let me show you the 5 most common ones that are currently potentially killing your team's culture. First power play, the leaderboard intimidation. I think we're all familiar with this one. You put up performance rankings thinking that it's going to help motivate people, but instead it actually creates a caste system where top performers feel entitled and bottom performers feel defeated. The message that's being sent, your worth is determined by your rank, and me, as the manager, I'm the one doing the ranking. Power play number 1, the leaderboard intimidation. I'm sure you're all very familiar with this. You put up performance rankings thinking that it's going to motivate people. Instead, it actually creates a caste system where the top performers feel entitled and the bottom performers feel defeated. And the message that you're sending is your worth is determined by your rank. And I'm the one doing the ranking and nothing else matters. Sometimes it's easy to do this without even knowing it. As a manager, you have information that could help your team succeed, but you parcel it out strategically. Or maybe even keep it for yourself entirely, thinking that somehow the information might have a negative effect on the team. Maybe it's market insights, maybe it's client feedback, maybe it's upcoming changes. The message that sends, though, information is power, and I control the flow of power. Power play number 3, the comparison culture. Boy, I'm sure none of us have ever experienced this. Every time you compare team members to each other, just like your children, you're using your power to pit them against each other. This is really unhealthy. The messaging is that I decide who's the standard, and guess what? You're not meeting it. Power play number 4, the arbitrary decision making. You change processes, territories, or priorities without explanation or input. Your team has to adapt to your decisions without really understanding the reasoning behind the decisions. Now, I'm not saying you have to tell everyone everything all the time and that you have to ask your team for permission, but the message that's being sent is that I make the rules and you follow them and your input is not valued. It's hard to get somewhere with your people when that's what they're hearing. Power play number 5, the credit monopoly. When teams succeed, the credit flows up. And when they fail, responsibility stays with them. This messaging is really tough because it says success is mine to claim as the manager and failure is yours to own as the salesperson. It's not collaborative. So as a manager, these power plays might make you feel like you're in control, but they're actually destroying the thing that you need most. And that is a team that wants to work together, you included, towards common goals. Here's what most leaders don't understand. Power doesn't ruin relationships. Pretending it doesn't exist, that's what ruins relationships. The moment there's a power differential in a room, conversations start to change. Automatically. People start filtering what they're saying. They manage up instead of speaking the truth. They protect themselves instead of pursuing the best outcomes. Let me show you exactly how this plays out. Problems typically get hidden until they become enormous crises. Good ideas don't get shared because people fear judgment. Collaboration is typically superficial because people are protecting their positions, and innovation dies because risk takers, well, they feel like it's a dangerous proposition. However, when things change and we acknowledge power dynamics, here's what it starts looking like. So as things start to change and people start to acknowledge power dynamics, here's usually how conversations change. People speak more honestly because they know that you recognize the dynamic. Ideas flow more freely because you created psychological safety. Collaboration deepens because people aren't competing for your approval. Innovation tends to flourish because people feel safe to fail and then learn from their failures. The difference isn't eliminating power. That's an impossibility. The difference is acknowledging it exists and using it responsibly. You've probably never heard about this little company called Amazon or wondered why they're so successful. Well, it's not because they have the most powerful executives. Oh, by the way, they do. Or the most intimidating corporate culture. By the way, yes, it's very intimidating and very cutthroat in different ways. But honestly, it's because Amazon has made themselves a company that empowers their people. They use their power to create simplicity, to allow people to have ownership and authority over whatever thing it is that they're in charge of. And this has resulted in eliminating complexity and driving responsibility. They've channeled their approach to make their teams more successful, which has resulted in them being one of the easiest companies to work with. This is a principle that transformed my personal approach to sales leadership. Instead of me asking, how can I use my power to get what I want? I ask, how can I use my position to empower my team and allow them to be more successful? The shift, honestly, has been profound. Instead of holding back information, I share everything. Work I use to channel power properly. Step one, acknowledge the elephant. Step one, acknowledge the elephant. Start team meetings by acknowledging the power dynamic. I know I have the authority to make the final decision here, but I want your honest input before I do. This simple acknowledgement changes everything. Step two, create psychological safety. You've got to make it clear that disagreeing with you won't hurt somebody's career. Still needs to be done respectfully. It's going to look like, I want you to challenge my thinking. If you see flaws in my logic, please speak up. It's not insubordination, it's adding value. Delivery on all of this is very important, not only by you as the manager, but when your people are giving the feedback. We have to be in an environment of respect. When I started leaning into this framework, things really started changing in a phenomenal way. Team dynamics started to grow. People started sharing their best strategies instead of hoarding them. Collaboration replaced competition as the dominant culture. New ideas emerged from unexpected sources. Awesome. Problem solving became collective instead of individual and daunting. Let's talk about performance metrics. So, team revenue, it increased by 47% in the first year. Individual satisfaction scores went from a 6.2 to an 8.9 out of 10. This in turn led to turnover dropping drastically by 73% because people wanted to stay and grow. And best of all, customer satisfaction improved because the team was working together to serve clients better. And for me, my personal leadership experience in all of this, I stopped dreading meeting with my team and I started looking forward to it. My role shifted from an enforcer to an enabler. I started getting promoted because my teams consistently outperformed. I felt fulfilled as a leader instead of exhausted as a taskmaster or a cat herder. If you're tired of herding cats and you're ready to lead a pack of highly trained sales professionals, it's time to stop pretending that power doesn't exist and start using it properly. Power does not ruin relationships. Misusing it does. When you acknowledge power dynamics and you channel them towards collaboration and empowerment of others, everything changes. Your team starts working together instead of against each other.
Thank you for tuning in to the Selling Trust podcast with Nathan Mark. If you found value in today's episode, please share it with a colleague or visit nathanmark.com to download your free copy of the Revenue Event Cookbook. Keep building trust and transforming relationships. We'll catch you in the next episode. See ya.